Hey guys, today I'll be showing you another restoration project here I just finished, and this is the R.A Moog Minimoog that I've been working on for a couple months now. Actually, it took me a little longer than I had really anticipated, mainly because it's just so early. But this video is also for Steve, who owns this really nice Minimoog. So Steve, this is going over it for you so you know exactly what you're getting back. But yeah, this is a fantastic example of an early Minimoog because it still has the version 1 oscillator board in it, which is very rare. A lot of people that even have the R.A Moog Minimoog would pull that version 1 out and put in a version 2 or version 3 oscillator. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I've got a video going over the history of the Minimoog. I'll put a link in the description below this video. And so you can actually, I go through all the history of the changes between years. And so I bring this up in my video there about this oscillator. But anyways, like I say, you got the early oscillator, you got the early front boards, the control circuit board, the keyboard circuit board. This thing all matches. The only thing it doesn't match is the transformer. I found out somebody has replaced the transformer, and it's not quite the original, but it does put out the right voltages, and it's the right current rating transformer. So I just made sure it was mounted real well, and so you've got that. That's about the only thing that's not really factory in this unit. But went through it and preserved everything. You know, did all the common failure component replacements. Did some tolerance changes in places to help, you know, make sure this thing can be more playable for you, Steve. And especially in the oscillator circuit, because these oscillators are very, very unstable. And so I did everything in my power to bring them into where they're going to be a little bit more stable for you. And I think you're going to be happy with it in that aspect of it. But cleaned all the pots, rebuilt the keyboard, conditioned the wood. Now your keyboard took me a little longer as well because the actual standoffs that mount the contact board to the keyboard assembly had actually deteriorated. So your actual circuit board is flopping around in there, and so I had to put in some new standoffs. And then of course I cleaned the contacts and did all the alignment stuff. So all that's spot on. But this wood is absolutely beautiful. After I started conditioning it, it was really, really dry when I got it in. So I did a lot of conditioning work to it, and you can just see how beautiful this wood grain looks. I mean, it really pops, and it looks great. A lot of character in this wood, and of course you can see the R.A Moog badge there, and it just looks great. The interface is metal etched like the early, you know, well, of course it is an early Minimoog. So it has the etched interface panel. And so it looks white on my camera, but it's actually just reflecting the light off my bench behind me. But I actually washed and hand washed all the knobs, so they're all nice and clean. Clean the switches, clean the pots, got everything where it's smoothly operational. No scratching, no no jumps in the pot positions, none of that kind of stuff. I'll walk around back here. We'll just go around it real good. You see how beautiful that wood is on the side. Walk around the back here. I put your new power coil, and this is the kind of cord you would have had factory on it. And also, because that new transformer that somebody had installed, where it mounts, I can't put the screws in right here. And they were actually missing these two screws when I got it, and now I know why. And it was just the way that new transformer mounts up in there. So I left those out. That's the only thing that's not there. But I don't have a transformer for one of these. If I had a transformer that would fit it, I would replace it. But you know, this one works great. It's the right, like I say, the right wattage and everything. But we'll walk on around here. But you can see here, Trumansburg, New York, which is the first Moog factory, and it's 1037. But they started with 1000, so it actually be 1001 was the starting serial number. So you don't really look at the 1, so it's 37. So that makes a 37th Minimoog built. And I confirmed that on the boards as well, that this is the 37th Minimoog. But yeah, it cleaned up really good. Cleaned the under chassis real good as well. You can see the wood on the back panel here, just how pretty that looks. I mean, it really looks great. It's just great. One other issue though that you're going to run into is that you don't have the calibration holes for the oscillator. and so there's no way to go in the back and calibrate. You have to pull the cover off to do any kind of calibration there, except for your octave, which is kind of weird. It's just, I don't know why it's like that. You got 2 holes here. This, I didn't do this. This was already done. I don't know what that's all about, but there is 2 holes there in the panel. But once again, just this wood, just give you a good walk around here to show you just how good that looks. Also, the LHC panel's different. You'll notice, I'll walk back around here and show you the panel. We'll go down the front wood here, just from the back side here. I think my lighting is better at this angle. But yeah, it's just a beautiful looking. It looks like the finish is messed up, but that's actually not the finish. It's just the wood. It's just the way the wood comes through. But one thing I did have to do, I will bring this up right quick. I had to replace one of your fuse holders, and this is out of my pocket because I broke it. I was replacing the power cord, and evidently this one already had been weakened before from somebody working on this thing previously to me. And so when I started actually soldering the new cord on, it actually snapped in half. So I found a new old stock fuse holder, and it looks just like the factory, so you'd never know it was broken. And so that's the only thing I had to replace. And like I say, since I broke it, no charge there, because I don't know if I broke it or if it was just already weak, which I know it was already weak, but it broke on my hand, so I replaced it for you for no cost on that one. But we'll walk back around here, and I'll show you the LHC panel. If you ever hear me say LHC, that's actually left hand control is what that stands for, which is your left hand control. And you'll notice that this one doesn't have rocker switches. It has these 2 momentary push buttons, and they're momentary, meaning that you have to hold them down to have decay or glide. But that's factory. That is something that came on this Minimoog stock for this time period. You'll see a lot of these things, and I've been asked this before. You'll see it like where you have a push button that does nothing, and you'll see a toggle switch right here or right here, and that's just because it's been modified. This is how it would have been from factory. And so it's just a really cool thing to see one of these unmolested in any way or unmodified, because this is exactly what it would have been like. And I mean, it's just absolutely a cool Minimoog. It's been a real pleasure working on it. But let me put the camera on the trumpet here and I'll walk you through the sounds. So one thing about these oscillators too is that they are early, and because they are early, you will have to sometimes move the tune knobs just a hair when you change octaves. The only modification I did to this unit that was it was critical for this unit to work right was I did install the buffer board. And the buffer board actually is a buffering amplifier that goes between each of these range switches and keeps them from having a current sag, which causes, when you change one oscillator to it would cause it to affect other oscillators. So for example, if you had this on 32 and you change this one to 8, like it is in this position now, this oscillator 1 will actually go out of tune because it's actually pulling away from the load of the resistor. They use one set of resistors to work all the frequencies or all the ranges, and so anytime you change, you're actually changing load across those resistors. So that prevents current sag and just makes it a lot more stable in that sense. But that's about the only thing I've done to it that's outside, the factory stuff. And you will still have to change it, even though I did that. The way the oscillator board works is it still affects it, and there's not really a good fix for it, just because of the way they send the signals on that oscillator board. And something that's interesting about the Vision 1 board, guys, and I'll bring this up probably in another video, I'm sure, at some point, but they use a single summing node for all the oscillators on this version 1 board, just like what you see on the version 3 oscillator board. With the exception of things that are independently to each oscillator, such as the frequency control here and the ranges. But like the keyboard circuit, all that's got its own summing node, and that's distributed to all oscillators. Whereas on the version 2, you see independent summing nodes. So you'll see a resistor per section for the summing. And so that's something that I just want to point out here. So overall, your keyboard tracking, all that's pretty good, but the ranging and the that's something that the way it's actually wired in, it's a little difficult to fix. But anyways, I'll just show you how this thing sounds. So anyways, you can hear just how great that sounds. And of course you can also see I have to hold in that decay button as well as the glide. So the glide, as well as the decay switch. But that's all your oscillators there together. We'll actually turn them all to 32. I'll go over your oscillators first. So we'll start with the oscillator 1. So this is just oscillator 1. We'll open the filter up, get this thing where it's sustained for me here. On that sense, without the decay button hit. So we got 32 on the range right now, and we'll start with the square wave. Clean volume pot. So that's oscillator 1. Oscillator 2. So that's oscillator 2. I will show the volume control or mix control for it is clean as well. As you can hear, and here's oscillator 3. Same thing, clean volume knob. Anyways, you hear how great those oscillators sound. They sound really good. Of course, you can see I have to bump the frequency just a hair when I change the footage. So anyway, those are your oscillators. Your noise source works. Also, your filter works, as you've heard. We'll turn on the self-oscillation. Now, these early Minimoogs, they don't have a scale adjust for your filter, so there is no way to adjust the scaling, so it will never track the keyboard exactly correct. but you can hear it tracks the keyboard. I can cut off the tracking of the keyboard. You can see now it's just your filter. One switch. Both switches. You can see how that works. So that's your filter. Your contour works for your filter. I'm going to show you that while we're here. You've already heard it a little bit, but I'll go over it for you. So you hear it there. We'll turn off the decay all the way to 0. We'll give it a slow attack. As you can hear. Also, your sustain level works. As you can hear. So that's your filter and your contour. We'll turn the oscillator back on. Now I'll show you that your loudness control works. So we'll actually turn the filter back to 0 here. So you can hear we have 0 decay now. It's just a click. Has a really long decay time there. You also got attack. As you can hear, you've also got sustain level. So right now we got a click. Of course your decay works. As you can hear. So that's your loudness control. I'll also show you that your modulation section works. So we'll turn on Oscillator 3 into LFO source. So right now we'll go here and we'll actually modulate the oscillators with it. Get this thing set back up for me. Alright, so we'll turn off Oscillator 3. As you can hear. So that's your modulation source of LFO 3, or Oscillator 3 uses LFO. Now something interesting about this oscillator design is I actually still got it in 32 right now. If I go to low, and because I am new to the revision 1 oscillator, I've never really worked on one too much. If you go to low, it's really slow. That's with the frequency turned all the way to 7 on your detune of Oscillator 3, and you can hear just how slow it is. So 32 footage actually gives you the kind of normal range of LFO, not what you found on a version 2 oscillator. So that's your your Oscillator 3 working with LFO, you also got noise, so we can engage noise into this. We can also change our noise by the switch. So that's using the noise on the oscillators. If you use the noise on the filter, it's a little bit more we combine noise with the LFO. That's what this modulation mix does for you. Of course, you get an FM synthesis as well. So anyways, you can hear how great that sounds. That's your modulation section. And of course, these early Minimoogs, you can't really play them without playing some Rick Wakeman. So let me get a sound set up here. We'll play a little 6 Wives of Henry VIII here. So anyways, you can hear just how great this thing sounds. I mean, it is really a really beefy sounding Minimoog. You open that filter up. So anyways, it's got a raw tone to it. But anyways, that's your Minimoog, Steve, and just want to go over it for you, show everything's functioning. And just want to make a good video for you guys that was interested in the R.A Moog Minimoog here. And of course, I'm probably gonna make a good high definition recording of it before before you come and get it, Steve, just so I can do some music projects with it here. Because I've got a couple of pictures I'm going to put together and put some music with it. Just something kind of cool I think you guys would enjoy. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and there'll be more to come here very soon. Take care.